how to attach two pinch pots together. So you're going to have an easier time attaching two pinch pots together when they're roughly the same width. So the width is the width of the pinch pot because, for example, if I try to connect this pinch pot and this pinch pot together, this one's a lot wider, this is narrower. They're not going to fit together very well and you're going to have a problem. So you need two pinch pots that are roughly the same width, and you'll be able to achieve that if you start with two spheres that are the same size. So what you'll need to attach two pinch pots together is you'll need slip. You need a slip paintbrush. You'll also need your needle tool. You'll need your rubber rib, and you might need your sculpting tools. So what you do, because we're attaching them together, is we need to score our clay. Now when you're scoring, make sure your marks are deep enough, and you need to score all the way around because we need to score on the surfaces of where these two pinch pots are touching. Now you need to score deep enough so the slip will actually get inside of it. So let me take care of that other half. You can see I've scored both halves of my pinch pots. Now let's take some slip. Make sure your slip is somewhat mucky and soft, and you only have to apply slip on one half of it because we're going to sandwich these two pieces together. All right, so you decide what's the top and bottom. It might change once you are working on your project, but we're going to put them together like that, and it's going to kind of resemble an egg. Now we want to make sure that they're going to totally fit together. So what I'm doing is I'm also, as you can tell, I'm starting to pull up the sides just with my fingers. And if you have some slip seeping out, that's okay. You can actually use it to your advantage because it's just extra moisture. Do not do this. Don't put the slip right on because you're just basically taking wet, muddy clay and putting it on the surface. So I'm going to spend some time blending this together, and I'm blending upward because this outer edge of the pinch pot is kind of sticking out. And if I try to blend the top part, I don't want to accidentally push the walls in. I can also take a sculpting tool and do the same thing, though you might find it easier to do this with your fingers. So let me take care of this. At some point, maybe take your piece upside down. See, this part's cracked open. Take it upside down as well and work on smoothing it out. You can, again, smooth it with your fingers. You can add a little bit of water if necessary to smooth it out. Now, if the walls curve inward, you might have to carefully detach it and rescore it and reslip it. So to detach it, you might want to take a fettling knife to cut it, fix what you need to fix, and then reattach it. So like here, I need to work on getting that all blended together. I'm going to use a sculpting tool just because it's a little bit easier. Now, once you have both halves attached, you've basically trapped air. But we're not firing yet. We're not firing this yet, so don't worry. You don't need an air hole yet. In fact, you don't want an air hole. You want to make sure everything is sealed. So you want to make sure these seams are sealed as best as possible. Something you can also do, because this has trapped air, is you can kind of roll it around and form it into whatever form you need for your project. So that's the advantage of actually trapping the air. Now, if you have an area that just doesn't want to fit together, you can always take a little bit of clay. Just roll up a small coil like this. Just roll a little piece of clay between your fingers. You can make a coil like that, and because this is happening on mine, so I'm going to show you what I do. And I scored it. I scored the little coil as well. Add some slip, and I'm going to put it right on there. And if I do it carefully and gently, I'm basically patching the hole. Of course, we want to smooth this out. I'm going to turn upside down for here. We want to smooth this out. Believe me, no one will know as long as you smooth it out. Now, at some point when your two pieces start to firm up really well, like right now my clay is a little too soft, but once it starts firming up, you can also take your rubber rib and actually smooth out the surface. You'll probably want to do this when your clay is a little more firm. If you try doing this and the seam is ripping, that means you just haven't let the clay sit long enough. But at some point, if you want to smooth this entire form, this is when the rubber rib is really cool because you can bend it. You can bend it to the surface. Again, we have trapped air. I wouldn't squeeze it too much or you will poke a hole. Be a little gentle with it. But that is how you take two pinch pots and you attach them together.